Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Tôi và Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC. Và ngày hôm nay thì chúng tôi mời quý vị cùng gặp gỡ với khách mời, đó là anh Sean Ngô, là giám đốc điều hành của Việt Nam Franchises. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for the invitation.
So we talk about franchising today,
Yes.
which is your expertise.
I'm very excited.
Well, there's no doubt about Vietnam's market in terms of the opportunities for franchising. We have a huge populations, strong purchasing powers, developing economy. You see all the big brands are starting coming right now. But how about the risk?
Well, that's a very good question, Ken. I mean, obviously with McDonald's opening up in the next few weeks, it's going to generate worldwide excitement about Vietnam. Starbucks entered recently last year, and of course you have all the major brands like KFC, Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
I think on the risk side, while there is lots of rewards, there's always risk. And I think from the major franchises, one of their main risks is their reputation. So what they want to do is make sure that they take their time and find the right franchisees in each market, because if the franchisee does something wrong, if they don't develop the market as planned, if they don't have the capabilities, or if they do something that damages the brand, a brand like McDonald's will face a lot of implications, whether it's financially or non-financially, whether that means bad press, or whether that means for them to enter new markets where they may have failed in a market like Vietnam, makes it very, very important for them to choose the right franchisees, which is the reason why it took about 10 years to find the right franchisee for McDonald's.
Sure.
And the same thing with Starbucks.
So specifically, what is the process of looking for a local partner?
I think, I think obviously what they want to do is ensure that, there are probably three main criteria that they look at. One of them is, of course, is your track record. Have you been successful in the industries that you are involved in? You'd be surprised, brands like McDonald's, even McDonald's, may not require that you have fast food experience. In fact, it may be an advantage for them, for you to not have that experience, because you can learn at Hamburger University how to do the
They have their own university.
Your own way.
That's interesting too.
So you have that type of advantage, and of course they want to make sure that you have great communication skills and great people, because really at the end of the day, to implement the franchise successfully internationally, you need to have great people, and of course sufficient capital.
So retail skill is a must, you mean?
Retail skills is always a big plus. It is not always a must, though. In terms of preferable attributes, of course, getting an access to great real estate locations is a huge advantage. If everybody else is the same, and you have the ability to locate and to acquire great locations, that of course is very important to a brand like McDonald's.
Yeah, it took McDonald's like 10 years to finally make the decision to come here.
Yes.
And took Starbucks quite a few years too.
Yes.
I mean, what are some of the specific sides saying that, okay, the market is ready, we can come right now? I mean,
Sure.
how do they do due diligence for this market?
Sure. For the big brands, obviously they want to be first to market, but a lot of times they have different priorities as well, right? So for example, we visited Starbucks in 2009. We went to Hong Kong to try and talk to Starbucks, to try and bring them to a market like Vietnam. And, we were probably one of 100 groups that came to the Starbucks office there. And so what you find is that, even Starbucks, even in 2009, their CEO for Asia Pacific told us their team had been to Vietnam over 50 times in the last 2 years. So that meant from 2007 to 2009, they had been to Vietnam over 50 times. It was not because they did not notice the market, but they had just entered markets like China, and they were not even in India yet. So they had very big markets on their plates, and they had to choose and prioritize. And of course, once they have made those entries, their next focus was Vietnam. So it made a lot of sense. So I think a lot of it comes from priorities and limited resources, because even McDonald's, even Starbucks have limited resources.
So for international brands, do they go directly to local partners, or do they usually go through a consultant like you, or
Well,
they find local partners?
There's certainly three ways to do it. They can do it themselves. And of course, through their company websites, people inquire about franchise opportunities specifically for their countries. Although that usually is never of it's usually not that effective, because they get hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah,
inquiries.
I'm talking about Vietnam's market.
Well, specifically for Vietnam, they would actually use us, for example, to help them find quality franchisees, or they can do it on their own through their regional contacts. But in general, for the bigger brands, they care a lot about choosing the right franchisee and not just selling a franchise. So for the major brands like McDonald's and Starbucks, because they are well represented in Asia already, usually they go through their third-party partners.
Okay.
So usually it's somebody from Hong Kong or somebody from Singapore who they ask and say, do you want markets like Vietnam? And then they leave it up to that partner to find a local partner in Vietnam, for example. For other brands that are not McDonald's, usually the process is to work with consultants like us at Vietnam Franchises, and we do a lot of due diligence for them because, being and living halfway around the world, you cannot know everything about a particular company. And notice that many of these franchises have inquiries all around the world. It's not just within Asia. So they have limited capacities on their own side as well. So what we do is we collect the information, we market the franchise opportunities to the right franchisees, and we do that due diligence that they cannot possibly do because they are halfway around the world.
So you said when they're looking for a local partner, usually experience is something plays very important role. But how about the chance for the fresh entrepreneurs or any startup business?
Certainly, we talk a lot about experience, and a lot of companies in Asia, especially in Vietnam, we have lots of experience in real estate. We have lots of experience in retail, in all these other industries that may or may not be related to franchising. I think what they also look for is a lot of passion. Why is it that you want to do? Why is it that you want McDonald's? It's got to be more than just making money, right?
Okay.
It's got to be something that you really are passionate about it. You will stick to the business. You will go thick and thin throughout the business to ensure that it will be successful. That is the kind of quality that they look for. So if everything else is equal, the deciding factor will be passion. How passionate are you about the brand? What are the real reasons why you want to acquire the brand?
I mean, even though you do a strong due diligence process here, I mean, what could go wrong in terms of making a wrong decision or choosing the wrong partner?
Well, the franchising by itself means that it's a very entrepreneurial type of joint venture. Right? Let's call it a joint venture because it really is a joint venture between the franchisor and the franchisee. Franchisor needs to do everything possible to make sure that their franchise is successful worldwide. Franchisee needs to do everything that is possible to make it successful in markets like Vietnam. So they both have to be at the top of their game. And if they're not at the top of their game, then the franchise system will fail. Now, what you see in Vietnam also is great brands that unfortunately are not doing too well. And then you see great brands that are doing very well. And they're doing very well is because both sides of the equation are doing quite well.
All right, thank you so much, and we'll get back after a short break.
Okay, thank you.
Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của anh Sean Ngô, là giám đốc điều hành của Vietnam Franchises, là một tổ chức cung cấp các dịch vụ tư vấn liên quan đến vấn đề nhượng quyền thương mại tại Việt Nam. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình này trên trang web tôi và vietnam.fbnc.com hoặc là trang website của kênh FBNC tại địa chỉ là fbnc.vn. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại sau ít phút giải lao.